Ah, there we go. All right, good morning. It is Saturday, October the 4th, 2025, and I am Nancy Moore, and I am located in the New Orleans area, New Orleans, Louisiana area. Okay, racism is the slogan of the group Erace, which was formed in New Orleans in the summer of 1993. We seek ways through person to person communication to show that we are committed to treating fellow human beings of all colors with love and respect. Join us. Erase is an organization that does not espouse any political party. We have no religious affiliation. We believe in acceptance of all people and no personal attacks of any kind will be tolerated. We come with an intention to listen, learn, and not to argue. Okay, I'm going to read the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that what we know as the United States is the traditional territory of indigenous peoples and that there are many more nations and tribes that could be named. Members of our group today are on the lands of the Takawan, Lipan, Apache, and Comanche in Austin, the Chitimacha and the Choctaw in New Orleans, the Creeks and the Cherokees in Atlanta, the Lenape and Piscataway in Maryland, the Wampanoag and Nipmuc peoples in Boston, and the Kalua and Mojave in Riverside, California. We thank their ancestors for being stewards of these lands through the generations and through today. Okay. All right. I will have everyone introduce themselves in the order that I see you on the screen. Okay. Starting with Richard.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see you again, Bill, and everybody else that I haven't seen for a while. And Richard, been with which is my middle name. Most of you know me by my first name, but to the extent that folks are still watching YouTube, I prefer to go with my middle name for now. And I've been with racism since the beginning in New
Thank you.
Orleans.
Thank you. Beatrice.
Hi, it's Beatrice here in East Point, Georgia, outside of Atlanta. I too have been with Erase since 1993, probably when I lived in New Orleans. I am the founder with Larry of our Atlanta group and glad to see everyone, especially Bill. Hey, Bill.
Okay. Thank you. Next we have Louise, who is listed as Good Bunny. Okay.
Sorry, it was just because of that topic. Bad Bunny. I just was being stupid.
Mhm.
I'm Louise from Austin and been with the group for about 2 decades, but I don't think Bill is here anymore, is he?
No, I don't see him.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Well, thank you, Louise. Okay, Glenn.
Glenn from New Orleans. Been with Erase since 1994.
Great. Thank you. Phyllis.
Hi, I'm
She,
Phyllis. I'm in New Orleans and I've been coming to your race since 2008.
Great. Marla.
Hello, I'm Marla. I am in the New Orleans area, Metairie specifically, and I've been coming to a race since 2019-ish.
Okay, thank you. Amal.
Good day, everyone. I'm Amal, and I've been coming to the racism meeting since 1997.
Great. Okay, Teresa.
Good morning. This is Teresa. I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Well, I just early voted in our primary for mayor, and I'm
Great. Thank you so much. Okay. Um, okay, everyone has come to meetings before, but I'll go over the format of the meeting anyway. We keep a list. You raise one finger to be on the list. Um, please keep your comments to 2 minutes. Be respectful. Don't interrupt the speaker. No side comments, no personal attacks, and no name calling. You may ask one clarifying. You can raise 2 fingers to ask a clarifying question, which is, I didn't understand what you meant, or could you please further explain? Okay. At the end, about 15 minutes around 11:15, we will move to the wrap up of where you give your final thoughts, and you please limit your comments to a minute unless you haven't spoken at all during the meeting, and then you can take your full 2 minutes. Okay. All right. The reason that I bought the topic was because um, the conservative right doesn't like the idea of Bad Bunny because Bad Bunny, one, will not come to the United States because he does not want people that who would possibly attend his concerts to be detained by ICE. Um, and then also, he is not a supporter of this administration. And also, people think or believe that Puerto Rico is not, it's a territory of the United States, even though it's not a state. It is a territory of the United States. And Puerto Ricans are um, United States citizens. They are citizens of the United States. And the majority of his music is in Spanish. And they don't like that either. Okay, so that's why I bought it. Okay, just because, I mean, he is a person that is, in his own way, is standing up to the administration, standing strong for his heritage. Um, and I think that's worthwhile discussing. So we can begin. Oh, also, I see everyone is doing it. You have yourselves on mute unless it is your turn to speak. And Beatrice, I see you put your racism t-shirt on. Okay, you are ready. All right. So, who would like to get on the list?
I like to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Well, could ICE go to Puerto Rico if that's territory of the United States and put his concert people out of the territory?
I don't. I have no answer for that. I really don't. I don't see why would they do that.
Can you ask the question? Can they go to Puerto Rico and arrest people?
Well, since that's a territory of the United States, could they? Yeah.
No, not if them people on their own land. How you gonna arrest a Puerto Rican in Puerto Rico for being where they're supposed to be at, where they were born at, rather?
I mean, they've been doing it here. So I don't
I
know.
mean, that's a
It's a
hypothetical.
good question.
It's a question. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, can they go to Guam and do that, or U.S.
Well, Guam is not a that's not a territory of the United States. They own it.
The U.S.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Guam is a
Guam
territory.
of the
The
U.S., just like Puerto
Samoa
Rico.
is a
Samoa,
territory. The Philippines
yes, all
uh,
of those places.
But
are
the
territory.
question, I'm
Well, wait
sorry.
a minute. Let's get on the
Okay.
list because we are getting away
I was
from
going to say, if it's a
the
free for
format.
all, I want to go on.
No, 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 no. Glenn asked a question. I said I didn't know, and Amal stepped in and kind of answered on my behalf. But let's get on the list. And so, who wants to be on the list? Now, don't get quiet now. Okay, Phyllis. Thank you, Phyllis.
White people seem to think that they need to be the center of the decision-making process when an NFL halftime show performer is decided. And the people getting all worked up about Bad Bunny and saying he's not American, which shows their ignorance about Puerto Rico, and discounts all of the non-American groups who have performed at the halftime Super Bowl halftime show. Like the Rolling Stones, like the Who, like U2. I can't think of all of them. They get upset if it's not country music. They're probably upset that Bad Bunny is following after Kendrick Lamar from last year. And personally, I don't care because I'm not watching football anymore because they gave tributes to that person who is now deceased from you know who I mean at the NFL games. So even the Saints, I got no.
Richard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Richard.
Yes, I agree with the last part, Phyllis, about that was inexcusable. That quote tribute to Charlie Kirk at the football stadium. But what I'll have to qualify again is it's not white people who are against Bad Bunny. It's too many white people, and it's more likely it's too many white people over quote a certain age. I would expect that the majority of quote
Beatrice.
white people unquote under pick an age 40, 45 that are into that type of music are going to be happy to see it. And if you hear booing at the stadium, that doesn't mean that, quote, most white people, unquote, are against him. It means that the people that boo the loudest can be usually louder than the folks that are cheering. So as usual, I think in terms of credibility, we need to be careful with our generalizations. I would put the word too, T-O-O, and then M-A-N-Y before any pejorative attack on any group, whether it's African American, European American, or Native American, you name it. Too many is the way to talk about it. Thanks.
Thank you, Richard. Okay. Next we have Beatrice.
I think Teresa's hand has been up. I'm not sure if you saw it. She
I
was.
do. I have it. I have
Okay, baby,
Teresa's
but
hand.
I thought her hand was up before I waved my finger.
Well, Teresa can go next, and then you can be after Teresa.
Thank you.
All right, Teresa, you're next.
All right, thank you. You know, as soon as this controversy happened, it reminded me of when I went to on a cruise in 2019. It was between Christmas and New Year's, and we were all
Right.
on the dance floor, and they were playing hip hop. Now, most of the crowd was white. And then they put on a song called Lottie Dottie. All the white people suddenly stopped singing, stopped dancing, and was in the middle of the floor looking around like prairie dogs because they were like, what is this? You know, da 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 da. And I thought it was funny at the time. And I'm sure the DJ who saw that majority of the crowd stop dancing was like, oh my goodness, I got to switch song. And then whatever. And so when you fast forward to Bad Bunny, that reaction that we're getting from conservative, you know, white people about this can't be reminds me of those white people who stopped, you know, in their tracks and stopped dancing because they didn't know that song. They didn't know what to do. I mean, they could have just kept dancing, even though they didn't know that song. And that's what I find that's very interesting is just that if it's something some people don't know and they think that everything has to cater to them. And well, in this case, the DJ did cater to them because majority of the people literally stopped dancing. And that's a bad sign for a DJ. But when it comes to this country, it's almost like, okay, DJ, you got to change this song. We don't want to dance to this. We don't want to do this. And it's a something that's not recognized, that no, you're not the center, you're not the standard. There are other things that exist, and guess what? Sometimes you're going to experience something new, whether you ask for it or not. It's like when I go to a buffet or a potluck or something and I see potato salad with raisins, I don't stop in the middle of the buffet and start screaming, "What is this?" I just silently think to myself, white people potato coleslaw, don't put it on my plate and keep going. But you don't see that maybe things are shifting. And I think there's always going to be people who embrace change or are open to learning new things, and people who are just like, no, I want the same thing all the time. DJ, play the song. I don't know, lottie dottie.
Okay, Teresa, you want to get back on the list?
Perhaps, but I'm still shopping. So, but thank you
Okay.
for letting me know because I can't hear the alarm,
I know
by the way.
it's okay. Thank you. Next, we have
Hmm.
Beatrice.
Yeah, wow. Well, first of all, I appreciate what Richard said about our being careful about generalizations. I am really concerned that too many people are using as a standard for value whether someone hates or likes Mr. Trump. I mean, the world, we cannot exist with that as our standard for what is of value and what's important. So one of the quotes from this article was 100 million viewers about putting a guy on the stage who hates Trump. A big deal. I mean, if we were all thinking clearly, it would be good if we all did. And another quote was, "We are in a spiritual warfare." Certainly, but it is not based on whether people support or do not support a person that I believe is clearly unhinged. I think that the smaller people make their world, things that look like them, people that look like them, speak their language, eat their food, dance, the smaller you make your world, the more likely you are to be apoplectic when you run into somebody that's not like you. And the country is becoming black and brown. Now they're trying their best to put us all out of here, take every brown person out. And Robert F. Kennedy is trying to kill us all with no vaccines. But this is not the world that many European American people want and think is good. And the idea that there are agencies that are stopping funding for important issues because you think there was race that was used to make decisions. Race was used to make decisions a long time ago. Like Jesse Jackson used to say, quotas were fine when the quota was zero, no blacks, no Jews. So I just, this idea of Bad Bunny, I am so glad he's going to be there. I had heard of him, but I had not seen him. I am delighted. And while I'm not a football much person, I will definitely be there. And I'm glad that he was selected. And I hope that people will understand. I'm glad he's protecting his fans also. He's afraid they'll.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Glenn.
Well, I've never heard of Bad Bunny, and I would have taken him out from being selected just on that title, Bad Bunny. I'm just kidding. So, uh, look, anybody, like I say, he probably gonna say something about Israel too. Uh, so he's maybe probably he didn't say nothing about Israel. Maybe he did, but if he's standing up against Trump, he's probably a person who say a lot of political things. Uh, Now myself, I haven't looked at a halftime show since Black Eyed Peas was on. 'Cause I used to like their record, uh, "Meet Me Halfway." Uh, so I'm not really attracted to the halftime show. I don't even. I'll turn something else on because it's not the kind of music that I like. But I've never heard the guy. I'm gonna look him up on YouTube and see what kind of songs he's got. See if I like him. Uh, but uh, but in this day and time, if you stand up against Donald Trump, you're going to have some
Teresa.
pushback. So that's all I have to say right now.
Thank you, Glenn. Okay. Next we have Teresa.
It happened quicker than I was expecting. Thank you. I was just gonna say to anybody who hasn't heard his music, he was in a movie, 2022 movie called Bullet Train, starring Brad Pitt. That was a very popular movie, so people may have seen him. He has hosted SNL. He has been the musical guest for SNL. I don't imagine a lot of conservative people watch SNL because it is a liberal woke show or whatever. But the point is, he is very known. He is very known. And, I didn't realize certain names. And my hippest nephew, who keeps up with everything, said it's impossible to keep up with everything
Marla.
because there's far too much content. So the fact that somebody doesn't know something really doesn't that's not a weighted thing. There is too much content for any one person to know. And I learned just recently that Jimmy Kimmel has a staff of 200 people. So if it just put in perspective, if somebody like Jimmy Kimmel needs a staff of 200 people just to curate and write for his show and to put that on, there is no way any one person could have heard of everything that's out there. And I kind of feel like now that I'm no longer a classroom teacher, I don't know. I feel like I would have known about Labubu if I was still a middle school teacher or a high school teacher before I heard it on the news. But there's just certain things I don't hear about now because, you know, I don't have access to it. So that's not really an excuse. And I'm happy. The only football game I tend to watch is Super Bowl for the commercials and the halftime show. Um, it's really interesting that Jay-Z is curating who does the halftime show. So that's why you are seeing more acts than just country music. And let's just say, wouldn't it be funny if he announced that there was going to be a country music star and it was Beyonce again, since she did win country album of the year. But I think it used to be MTV who put it on, and I think that was when the wardrobe malfunction happened. I think that was the last year that MTV
They
was
did it.
doing the
Okay, Teresa, you
halftime
want to
show.
get back on
When I'm inspired. Thank you.
when you're inspired? Okay, thank you. All right, next we have Marla.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody already mentioned this. I apologize. I'm kind of multitasking again. But I did a little more research on Bad Bunny. I mean, I'm aware of him. I know who he is. I know he's wildly popular, but I was just curious historically, kind of any appearances he's made. And he made an appearance in 2020, apparently, at the Super Bowl halftime show with Shakira. So
Yes.
white people can unclutch their pearls and just keep it moving. I mean, this is just so very unserious. It's entertainment, and that's it. Like, not everything has to mean something, and be so symbolic and so. I mean, I think it's fabulous that that he's Latino and that he's going to be the halftime act, but also separately, it's like it's not that serious. Keep it moving. Like Teresa said, not everything is for you. That's all.
Thank you. Okay, Phyllis.
Shakira, also not an American citizen. And yeah, I know that on the Super Bowl day, because this happened last year, I know which people I'm friends with on Facebook are going to put up some sort of a rant. I can predict it. Dismissing the music because they don't, A, in this case, understand the language, and B, last year, understand any of the context. Any. Um, and yeah, I just think many white people need to get over ourselves. Um, I know it's painful when you're not centered because you're not used to it, especially ones with certain appendages, but just relax, get over it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the list is open. Maybe to spark conversation. Um, in reference to last year's Super Bowl with Kendrick Lamar, I have to admit that when I was like, "What is this?" But as it went on, I began to understand that, the demographic that the show was targeting was not meant for me. It wasn't. And so, I just kind of like got over it. I was expecting something more, I don't know, traditional in terms of mainstream type entertainment. Even if that was like Shakira or The Weeknd, or I'm trying to think of some of the other entertainers that have performed in the past, but it wasn't I wasn't the demographic that they're targeting. And at some point, baby boomers and even Gen Xers have to realize that you are not the demographic that is being targeted. You are not the main demographic anymore. I also find it interesting that no one has brought up the fact that Bad Bunny, his show is primarily in Spanish. I think it's like 98% in Spanish, you know. And I watched a Gail King from CBS Mornings went to his final show that was done in San Juan, and she said, "I didn't understand a word. The whole show was in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, so I didn't understand a word. But she said I understood the energy of the show and I had a great time. So sometimes things don't have to be in English for you to have a good time. So if anybody would like to comment on either of those two aspects, um, the list
I'll
is
say
open.
something.
Okay, are you getting on the list? Then Phyllis was before you.
That's
Okay, so
prejudice.
no, it's not. She had her finger up way before you said something. So it's Phyllis and Glenn and then Amal.
Ladies first. Um, so Kendrick Lamar's show was definitely not targeted for me. I was not expected to appreciate it, understand it, but I read a lot of articles afterwards and got very educated on things about him and his music and really appreciated all of that. And also, what was I going to say? My brain will not hold a thought today. Oh, I look forward to that after Bad Bunny's performance. I'm sure I will learn a lot because I'll be looking at things. And also, I would like to recommend to everybody watch the official, a couple days after the Super Bowl, they'll put out an official video of the whole halftime show, which has better sound than it has during the live broadcast. And that helped me a lot too, because it has better production quality. Um, so uh, but also, yeah, why did they send Gail King, who doesn't speak Spanish, to see a Bad Bunny show? And
I guess she went on her own. I don't know.
no, I'm sure they sent her. Um, and like, why not send somebody who speaks Spanish who can provide some context besides the good energy, which I'm sure is true. Um, so yeah, like don't send somebody to critique or evaluate something that doesn't have any understanding of the language it's happening in or the culture it's happening in. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, next we have Glenn.
Yeah, I music is something you can enjoy music in different language and don't understand a word of the language. Uh, in the '60s, we had a Japanese singer who hit the top of the charts in the '60s, and and the record was not in English at all. It was in Japanese. But the harmonizing of his voice with the music, it's what made it popular. It was pop. I liked it a lot. Uh, uh, and also there was a guy who La Bamba. That was in Spanish, and and Americans enjoyed it. So it's not going to be a problem with it being in Spanish as long as the harmony, you feel the harmony of it, along with the music. But I doubt if that's what I'm going to get because the rap scene. I'm not into the rap scene, but uh, but uh, but like I said, you brought up the demographic, who they trying to reach. If he is very popular,
Teresa.
he's very he's very popular with a group of people, so it's going to be successful because it's that group they after, and that's they the NFL is looking for new people to be involved with the NFL. They already got the old ones. They're looking for the new ones. That's it.
All right, thank you, Glenn. All right, next we have Amal.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, what's interesting is that this man is one of the popular artists on the world stage right now, not just in Puerto Rico. This man is selling out shows wherever he go. He's on a world tour right now as we speak. So I don't. So when you're the coordinator of a Super Bowl halftime show, the objective is to get the person who's the most popular in the moment. And right now, he's that guy. So I'm not understanding what the backlash is when that's what you're supposed to do when you're coordinating a Super Bowl show. You get who's the most popular person on the music scene in that moment at that time. And right now, this is that person. So who gives a dog about what MAGA thinks at this moment? MAGA ain't the coordinator of the show. The coordinator of the show is Rock Nation, who is owned by Jay-Z. And Jay-Z, since he's been in charge, he's been changing the demographics, the face, and now the language of the Super Bowl halftime show. And that's rubbing some people the wrong way, i.e., white folk. Some white folks, excuse me, Rich. Some white folk. A lot of white folk. So that's the situation. It's rubbing some people the wrong way. It's not about whether you do or don't understand the language. It's about the fact that it ain't in English. Because I know there been some country singers that up there that probably some people didn't understand, but they let them. It was in English, so they let them sing. And it's like Glenn just said, you don't have to understand the language all the time. There's some reggae music I don't understand, but I still like reggae music. I don't understand what they're saying all the time because the patois is that strong. So right now, this man is the top sell. He's the top selling artist. He's hot on the charts, and that's what you do when you're coordinating the Super Bowl show. But some people are upset because the language and the demographics and the face of the Super Bowl halftime show is changing, and that's not that some people just can't handle it. And that's the way that's what it is.
All right, thank you, Amal. Next we have Teresa.
Okay, thank you. Since y'all keep bringing up Shakira, you remember, I think it was she and J-Lo, who is also Hispanic, on that um, Super Bowl halftime show. And I will never forget because such a big fuss was made about it. But Shakira did what I think they call a village yell. I don't know if y'all remember that, but wow, she was, that caused a lot of controversy. So the fact that, and I don't think it's really the Spanish language because for some people, the only Spanish they know is singing along with popular songs in Spanish. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't sing along with his music because I don't know it, but I I understand Spanish most of the time when I hear it, if it's slow enough. Okay. I'll put it to you that way. But I am still, again, always love watching the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl parties. I don't even know half the time who's even playing because I don't care. It to me, it's the entertainment part, but the changing demographics. I'm living in a city that went majority minority between the 2010 and 2020 census. So it's very interesting how I even see in the city that I'm living in, the demographics have changed. So I don't see how anyone can realistically think that nothing is going to change based on the people who are living here. Hey, I think I beat the timer. I'm not sure.
You did by 26 seconds.
There we go. I'm getting better, Nancy. Thank you.
That's good. Not a problem. Okay. Um, the list is open. Louise, you have any? Oh, Phyllis? Okay, great. Go ahead.
I was looking at the article finally. I mean, I looked at it yesterday. And this tweet that they quote, I'm not saying X, just FYI, from the redheaded libertarian, that Bad Bunny is a demonic Marxist who has been granted the largest stage with the greatest audience in the middle of a Christian revival. What are we talking about? Where is the Christian revival? I don't understand. Is football a Christian revival? Is the United States having, what is that person talking about? That seems a little unhinged to me. A demonic Marxist. I'm gonna even be more interested in finding out about Bad Bunny. I might spend some of my Saturday looking at him and his music, reading about his politics. So he probably has some religion too. I mean, maybe. I think it's weird to call people demonic. I think it's really weird. Or even things demonic. I just think it's weird. I think it takes it's some sort of a way to evade human responsibility.
Okay,
That's it.
that's it. All right. Um, the list is open if anyone is interesting. Another thing is that I don't, Bad Bunny was really offended by the administration when Trump called Puerto Rico a floating patch of garbage. I mean, that's really insulting to anyone of from Puerto Rico, anyone of Puerto Rican descent. I was stationed, or rather, Rodney was stationed in a mall. Okay, I'll stop and save it for the wrap up.
You can go ahead and finish your statement. I was just raising my hand up.
Okay, I was just saying that we were stationed in Puerto Rico in the mid '80s, and at that time it was still kind of a third world country, but we did go back in the early 2000s to revisit it, and the progress of Puerto Rico had made in those 20 years was amazing. I mean, where there were 2-lane roads are now 4-lane highways and high rises, and it really, really looked really good. So to call it a floating patch of garbage, I was insulted by it because it really it looked better than a lot of places in the United States. It really did. And the people are they're I guess what I'm trying they are it depends on where you are at that they're bilingual Okay. If you're around San Juan in that area, most people are bilingual. Once you get outside of San Juan, then they're not too bilingual, and whatnot. But I think that the fact that um, you can go into, their resorts and their stores and everything, and there's somebody there who is bilingual, where for the most part you don't find that too much in the United States. Anyway, Amal, you can start.
Yeah, I was looking at the article and it says something crazy that I thought was crazy at least. So it says this year a high profile controversy arose over some NFL teams having male cheerleaders, and backlash ensued regarding this year's Super Bowl performer, Kendrick Lamar. Following his performance, the FCC was hit with complaints about the rapper's halftime show, with some people saying it was racist towards white people. And it's like, now I saw that Super Bowl and I saw that halftime show, and I saw nothing in it that was nearly even about white people, nevertheless racist towards. So, and I think that was the problem, is that white folks didn't feel like they were included, and not being included made them feel like it was racist towards them. Like, no, you, some things that you don't, you know, you got to be a part of. This was Kendrick Lamar's show. He called the shots, and that's what it was. There was nothing in that show that came even nearby remotely being racist toward white people. But if you saw the show, you would know that. So I got a problem when people make comments like that and they don't back it up with nothing. What did you see that made you feel that way? See, it's easy to get on the computer and just type something like that. But if you can't show me in the show what you felt like was racist towards you, then what are you saying? I need more context.
Okay. Okay. The list is open again. Does anyone else have? No. Okay. Well, then, okay, Richard.
Uh, yeah, I pretty much agree with you, Amal. I think the one song that, and I'm kind of with Glenn on this, hip hop has never, at least the hardcore or drill hip hop, has never been my thing. But the one thing that I think was mentioned about the Super Bowl of Kendrick Lamar was his song, and I can't remember this is how much I'm into rap. The other rapper that he was in a major feud with, uh, that he sang a song called "Not One of Us" or "Not Like
Not
Us,"
like us. They're not
not
like
like
us.
us. And I believe that the other rapper was a
He Drake. His
mixed
name is Drake.
race. Uh, was Drake? Is that what you said?
I say his
Mm-hmm.
name. His name is Drake.
Drake. Okay. Um, no, he was the singer at the Super Bowl, right? Which one was the singer at the Super Bowl last year? That was
Kendrick Lamar.
Lamar. I'm sorry, you're right. So his feud with Drake, he sang a song called "Not Like Us." That when I heard it, I interpreted it as saying, you're not quote black enough, which I've always had trouble with that phrase. I don't interpret that as being racist towards white people, but I think there is that line that's sometimes crossed with, if you're rapping and you're rapping in a quote black context, you better be quote black enough to get away with it. And I think that's problematic. So not that it's defending people who are saying he was racist, but that was an example of probably his most popular song that I found problematic. And I'll admit that rap has never been my thing. With Bad Bunny, listening to him I consider him rap light because he's getting more into the R&B sound in a lot of his music. If you can't hum some of the songs on the way
Amal.
out, it's not worth it.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Amal.
Yeah, just to give some context about the title of the song, "They Not Like Us." Kendrick Lamar is from Compton, California, and Drake was born and raised in Canada. And so "They Not Like Us" is basically saying that, he comes across the border of the United States into the United States trying to rap like he's from somebody who's here when he's from Canada. He wasn't raised in the culture of the United States to come in, but he comes in rapping like as if he was. And so "They're not like us," meaning that you're not like those of us who will be south of Canada, the Canadian border. You're Canadian. You're not like those of us in the United States. It wasn't an attack on him racially because Drake is actually half black, half white. And when I say half black, half white, his father is born in the United States. His father is Black American. His mother is a Jewish Canadian woman, born in Canada. So he's not. But he wasn't raised in the United States. He was raised in Canada. So "they're not like us," meaning that you don't, you're not like those of us in the United States. That's the context of the title. It's not that he was attacking his race. It was actually a nationality. Like, you raised in Canada, you're not an American. Don't come down here trying to be like you are.
Okay. Well, thank you. Anyone else? Phyllis.
This morning I saw a short video and I didn't know who the two women were who were talking. They're both white women. I just found it. One of them is Tommy Lauren, who's a not very bright conservative commentator. And the other one is Crystal Ball from, I don't know if she's on CNN. I'm not sure. But anyway, they're talking about the Bad Bunny show. And Tommy asked Crystal, "What do you think of it?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know much about him, but he's a great American artist, yada, yada." And Not Bright Tommy says, "He's not American." And Crystal says, "He's Puerto Rican. That's part of America, dear." It was the dear
Mm-hmm.
that made me happy. So, yeah, I don't know how somebody in that who's a commentator does not even have the ability to find the basic information about Puerto Rico. It's perplexing to me. No, that's all.
Okay. Well, thank you. Um, Anyone else? If not, we can go to the
Yeah,
hip
I'll
hop.
say something. I'll say something.
Okay.
Wanted to get back to Glenn's original question as it relates to Puerto Rico and can ICE go down there? I don't think we delved into it deep enough. Like I said, U.S. territory, as is Guam, as is a lot of those islands. I think it's U.S. Samoa or something like that. It's a few of them that are territories of the U.S. In other words, those people, if they wanted to, could join the United States military, and a lot of them do. Um, um, and they have governors there that that are part of the U.S. structure. Like, um I can't remember the there's a name that they have for it, but and it slips my mind right now. But anyway, they can participate in things as it relates to the United States. And joining the military is the first one that come to mind, but I'm sure there are other things. So when you ask, can ICE go down there and raid them up and send them where? They're already where they would send them if they had to send them somewhere. So that would be my question to you, Glenn. Where would you think ICE would be sending these people if they went to Puerto Rico to round them up? Where would they go? Or Guam or wherever else the United States set up their colonies. I don't know if I want to call them U.S. territories, but just a question I'm throwing. Anybody can answer that if they want to. I'm just throwing it. Since Glenn
Where
brought
at?
it, I addressed it to him, but anybody can answer.
Phyllis?
Well, I just Googled and ICE has made arrests in Puerto Rico. I don't know that they're deporting people from Puerto Rico. They're probably just putting them in terrible conditions there like they do to people here. And they've also arrested Puerto Ricans here. If you're a Puerto Rican in the United States of America, you are a U.S. citizen, period. The only difference is Puerto Ricans who live in Puerto Rico can't vote. Puerto Ricans who are here in the United States can vote in our elections. But yes, of course ICE is there because they are not good. To put it lightly.
And so, what would they send them? They just arresting them?
I couldn't read enough during this to see where they're sending them. I think they're arresting them under the concept that they're criminals, which I'm not sure what kind of criminal ICE is arresting in Puerto Rico. How is that their jurisdiction to arrest a criminal who is, like you said earlier, in their own place of birth and haven't crossed a border, etc. So you can Google it and look more into it.
All right. It is 11:12, and I think we can move to our wrap up. And everyone has spoken except for Louise. And Louise would get a full 2 minutes, but everyone else would get a minute to give their final thoughts. Okay, so Louise, take it away.
I really don't need 2 minutes. Everyone's been saying exactly how I feel, and the point that I think I'm really picked up on here that I didn't know was that who chooses the acts for Super Bowl. I didn't know that they chose someone to do it. I thought it was like the NFL old men that did. So I'm really interested in that, and the fact that it definitely has changed in music and uh, artists over the past couple of years. It's been great. So yeah, that was interesting to me. And Bad Bunny, yeah, I mean, for sure, it's great, and I think yeah, everyone's getting their knickers in a twist over nothing really. So yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Louise. Next, we would have Richard.
Well, Glenn, there is a lot that I disagree with you with, but when you talked at the beginning that you would you would exclude Bad Bunny just based on the name, I got to agree with you. I just can't get past that tacky name. But I'll give him a chance, particularly if he gets into the R&B stuff that he kind of discounts the rap and gets more into the melodic stuff that I've heard him sing. My thing is, if anybody's got contacts with Jay-Z, who I think Amal said is now in charge of all this, I'd say, Jay-Z, come down to New Orleans and listen to the brass bands, listen to the Rebirth, listen to the Soul Rebels, listen to a Dirty Dozen. If there's any instrumental group that could take over any halftime show and get the fans rousing, it's got to be the New Orleans brass band. So anybody with contact with Jay-Z, get them in contact with the brass bands in New Orleans. They could do much better than any rap group, as far as I'm concerned. But good discussion.
Thank you, Richard. Beatrice.
I have greatly enjoyed the discussion, and I will be looking with great anticipation for Bad Bunny and his antics. And I think how unfortunate it is that we as Americans, North Americans, do not work on learning a second language. We do not even try to be bilingual. And so if somebody's speaking Spanish, we just, well, they're not talking to me. But so many, English is not the language that everybody needs to just have that one. We need to work on trying to be more open to know that we are global citizens and learn another language. And I'm with the rap. I don't have a great understanding for rap, but I know it is modern day poetry. And as a poet, I appreciate that people are expressing themselves. And I say, hallelujah, go on with it, baby.
Thank you. Beatrice. Phyllis?
So because I'm on my Bad Bunny learning curve, Bad Bunny's real name is Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio. He chose the stage name Bad Bunny after sharing a childhood photo of himself in a bunny suit with a grumpy expression on his face, and the name stuck after he created a Twitter account with the moniker as he started to gain fame. And also, so this was a good topic. I think we might have to revisit it after the Super Bowl because I'm sure there will be people with their knickers even more twisted. And I appreciate discussing it beforehand. And Beatrice, I appreciate, as always, your open-mindedness to the world.
Thank you. Okay. Marla?
Yes, very interesting discussion. I agree with Phyllis. I'd like to talk about it more too after the fact. Just to kind of follow up on Richard, you mentioned New Orleans bands or people being highlighted from New Orleans. During the halftime show with Kendrick Lamar last Super Bowl, whatever year. Yeah, that was last year, I guess. Or yeah, anyway, 2025, this year. They also featured John Batiste, Trombone Shorty, and I think also the Soul Rebels, Master P, several others who are native New Orleanian folks and bands. So anyhow, and it was awesome. All right, that's it. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you, Marla. Glenn?
Yeah, I don't know how you get your drawers twisted. How can you're wearing drawers and you're gonna get them twisted? I don't know how you can do that. Anyway, uh, 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 when it comes to music, I've learned I can appreciate different music, but it's got to be something that hits me. Uh, the guy in charge of it, what's his name again? The rapper, what's his name? Jay-Z.
Jay-Z?
Jay-Z made a record, a Hard Knock Life. I really enjoyed that. But everything else, I didn't like. I didn't like what he had. And I never listened to his wife music. Uh, their African music, I can't understand the word they're saying, but it really feels good when I hear it. When you listen to the Disney movie, the African King, the Lion King, it starts off with an African singing music. That music sounds some good, So you don't have to understand what they're saying. It's just the sound of it got to be good. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Glenn. Amal?
Yeah, great article. And as was said, I'll be interested in revisiting the conversation after the Super Bowl. But there's some things I'm sure people come to New Orleans and like about our music that they don't understand. Nah, I go, I way. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, if you wasn't raised in New Orleans, will understand what that is or what that means because a lot of people don't speak that language. But I guarantee you, if a second line was happening and somebody was harmonizing that, the whole street will be full. They don't have to understand the language. It's the spirit of the music. It's the beat. It's the rhythm. You see what I'm saying? So I'm actually looking forward to seeing if he gonna do this in English or Spanish. I don't know. If he gonna mix it up. Whatever he do, I can't deny that I'll be looking forward to seeing it. But nevertheless, I don't expect them to have to conform to the United States and the language that's spoken here, the majority language that's spoken here, just because that's the language. He might wanna reach a certain demographics with the language that they speak. And if that's what he want to do, I'm fine with that. But everybody come to New Orleans ain't gonna understand the music that we say, and that's cool too. But I guarantee you, they gonna have a good time.
Okay, thank you, Amal. And Teresa?
Thank you. I am looking forward to Bad Bunny doing his soul show in Spanish. I am looking forward to variety. You know, a lot of, and people who are even sports fans will tell you, oftentimes Super Bowls are boring because you have the top two teams playing against each other, which means they're stopping each other from doing great plays. Very few Super Bowls are so good that the commercials, you know, you're more interested in the game than the commercials. Very few Super Bowls do that for me. So I am very excited to have, you know, a halftime show and Super Bowl commercials. We haven't even talked about that. I know this thing isn't about that, but for somebody who is not a sports fan, I'm very much looking forward to that. I want to be entertained. Everything's getting expensive. All I have to do is turn on my TV. This is inexpensive form of entertainment, and I am, and thank you, Nancy, for bringing this article. I didn't want to forget to say that. I
Thank you.
mean, it was a lot of discussion points, and I would be interested, just like we did with the Kendrick Lamar. A lot of us learned a lot, you know, from that because we're open to learning, and I'm hoping he brings that aspect to give us something to learn.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you. Okay. I really I don't know, have much to say. I brought the article primarily, I guess, because just the backlash of the MAGA group. Um, why do you have to have someone who one they felt that was not an American citizen, but Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States and they are American citizens. And then, two, his show is in Spanish. And I do feel that America, as Beatrice pointed out, doesn't place enough emphasis on speaking another language. Doesn't have to be Spanish, it could be French, it could be Mandarin, it could be, you know, I don't know, Italian, German, whatever. But you need to be able to converse with people. The world is becoming more global, and you need to have options. When we lived in Puerto Rico, it was interesting that I had taken Spanish in college. Okay, and but I didn't realize how much I didn't know until I got there. Um, and if you don't use it, you kind of lose it. But I can still eavesdrop, which is interesting because I'll hear people, speaking in Spanish, and I guess they assume because I'm African American that I don't understand what they're saying, but I do. Okay. I don't get the tenses. I never did, so I don't know when something is happening, but I do understand enough to be able to like eavesdrop. But anyway, I just think that you're not going to stop the world from becoming more global and more connected with each other. Um, that's one of the good things I think about um, what television, the internet has brought to people in general is the ability to experience other cultures, to be able to mix and mingle with other people that you otherwise would not have had the opportunity to do or see. It has helped, in my opinion, advance society. Um, and well, it'll be interesting to see what happens after the show, just like Kendrick Lamar last year. All right, you can stop recording.